Franchising is not for everybody. I would say there's a franchise for everybody out there, but I wouldn't ever say that franchising is right for everybody out there.
When looking at a franchise, don't let what's in fashion cloud your judgment. Greg is the founder of Franchise Maven, best-selling author, and serial entrepreneur. What do you feel are the key elements for someone to have success in running a franchise?
First thing that people have to have when they are starting to look at a franchise, there's a few qualities that people need to have. One, a little bit of risk tolerance. It's a business. You start out, there's going to be a little bit of risk. So you got to have a little bit of risk tolerance. The other thing is that you have to be coachable. You're going to have a team of people that's going to help you grow and help that business grow. And they're going to coach you through it on that. So you've got to be coachable. And then the other one is you got to be able to follow processes and procedures. That's why you're getting into a franchise, because they've already got that process and procedure outlined for you. So you got to be able to follow those, be coachable, and be a little bit risk tolerant.
Is there a point where you say you're not right for franchising? Have you come across that?
When people get a little bit too overanalyzing or technical or find too many issues with that, it's generally that what they're trying to say is that, it's just not a good fit. Franchising is not for everybody. I would say there's a franchise for everybody out there, but I wouldn't ever say that franchising is right for everybody out there. You do have to know that, again, you can be a little bit risk tolerant going into business for yourself. But there are some people, I would say, my younger entrepreneurs are probably the toughest ones because they're really ready to go out there and they want to do something and try something for themselves, by themselves, without having a team for it. It's interesting, though, that my older entrepreneurs, I've had people that come to me and they opened up, and sold, 4 or 5 different businesses, and they come to me looking for a franchise. I'm like, why are you coming to me? You've done it before. Do it again. And they're like, I've done it before. I know how much of a pain in the butt that is, how much work that is. I don't want to go through that work again. I just want to step into a business in the box and go for it.
You have been a franchisee, you have been a consultant, you have actually started off as an engineer. I guess that engineering training helped you kind of mold the franchise into a franchise?
Started off in the restaurant industry as a restaurant manager. So that's where I got good with working with people, not only teams of people, but then working with customers and clients on a regular basis. And then when I got into the engineering field, that got me into more the analysis point of view, analyzing large amounts of data as well. And so I got my bachelor's degree in that. And then I received a master's degree in business and then helped me with my business acumen. So I was able to put that whole package together.
Well, and that's actually falling into that where you drew your inspiration from kind of rich dad, poor dad, and led you to bigger and better things.
Oh, it did, William. When I was getting my master's degree in business on that, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And yeah, he ruined my corporate career for me in a good way on that one. But I realized that, there are things that are better out there. And while I was being an engineer and going through business school, at the same time, one of my other fellow engineers and myself, we purchased a dry cleaners, privately owned. We purchased storage units. And then I had a few rental properties. So I was doing all that on the side. So I was always really kind of thinking about things I could do for myself. But once I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad's book, I realized that if I really wanted to go out there and I really wanted to get these things done, it was really time to just, take a step away from that corporate career altogether and really bet on myself, take a risk on myself. My risk was, betting on myself and that I could do it. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he really just opened my mind to it and said, it's now or never. You're either going to do it now. And I was 49, almost 50 years old at the time. So my dream was to get out of the corporate world by 50. And I said, great timing on the book there, Robert Kiyosaki. I'm glad I read that. And let's make that step. So I took off and my partner actually took off from the corporate world at the same time. So I sold all my half of everything back to him. He took over those businesses. And I said, I got to get into that franchising thing and haven't looked back since.
You also help people turn their business into a franchise. How do you go about that?
When people want to go out there and they want to grow, you can grow by yourself. Using your money, building out your locations little by little. That's more linear growth on that. If you want to grow exponentially, where you're growing a little bit faster, then you get into the world of franchising, where other people are using their money to build out the locations. They're the local owner operators in the area. You don't get all the profits, but then you don't put all your money into building out those locations. So generally speaking, franchises charge about 5 or 10% royalties, and that'll be your income stream that you're going to get helping those people out. If you're thinking about becoming or turning your business into a franchise, there are 3 things that we take a look at there that will make your business more appealing to people that I come in contact with that are looking to get into a franchise. Now, these 3 aren't set in stone. We've done it without them, but they certainly do help. One is, generally speaking, if you're netting $100,000 or more, that's a good plus on your business. It's a good sign. That's what people are looking for, is a good solid 6-figure income. 2, if your service or business can be used in just about every city and state in the U.S., that opens you up to more people that'll be interested in your franchise system. Now, there are franchises that rent boats out there. Obviously, you're not going to get a boat rental franchise, in some parts of Arizona where there's no water, or New Mexico. But there's enough cities and states out there where you do have a good pull of people on there. And so the third thing is, I would say, William, is that if you actually repeated it, if you actually built out another location or 2 or 3 locations, that's a good solid plus as well, because now you've shown people that you can reproduce it and you can bring in the money. So that's the 3 things on that, is that 100,000 or more net business or service can be used in as many different cities and states as possible. And if you've repeated it 2 or 3 times, that's an added plus as well. Again, not set in stone for all of those, but they certainly help attract more people to your business or franchise.
And that's for building your franchise out of a business or a business idea. Say this, you got this young entrepreneur, they want to get into a franchise. What are the steps for them to become a franchise owner?
First step is to reach out to me and we have a phone call. So our first call, how I work with them, William, is that our first call is that you'll ask me anything you want about me and about franchising. So I want to get you familiar with me, making sure that you're okay with working with me for one, that we get along. That's always a good first start on there. I also want to make sure that your expectations of what the franchise can do for you are realistic as well on that, but you'll get to know me. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you out an email with a questionnaire to fill out. Get that questionnaire filled out. It'll ask you just some, to brag about yourself, some background information. I'll send you out a matrix of business types, show you the different types of franchise businesses that are possible out there for you, kind of get the creative juices flowing on your end. And also our due diligence process, where you and I will go through to not only find franchises that are a good fit, but then investigate those franchises together as well. So on our next call, we'll go through the questionnaire, we'll go through the matrix of business types. I'll ask you lots more questions. At this point in time, William, I'm really getting to know you. Where have you been? So what do you bring to the table? What are your skill sets? Where are you at now? Are you looking to get into a franchise full-time? Do you want one that's semi-absentee? What kind of time do you have during the day to run that business? What are you comfortable investing in a franchise? Not necessarily what you have, but what are you really comfortable investing in a franchise? And then where do you want to be? Where do you see that franchise taking you in the future? Where do you want to be with that franchise? And I put all that information that I gathered together, and then I go out and I get to know the franchises pretty well. And I work with probably a little over 500 different franchises. I don't know every single one of them in depth, but within each industry, I've got probably 3 or 4 different franchises, 3, 4, 5 different franchises that I know are real good. So I'll look to see who's available in your area, making sure the demographics fit. And I know who the franchisors are looking for in a potential franchisee. So on that part, I know, and then I just have to know what you're looking for. And I'm kind of like a Match.com and Realtor.com all rolled into one. And then what I do then is send out 5 or 10 different opportunities to my clients, give them a chance to look them over. We get back on the phone, go through those, narrow it down to 2 or 3 that you are looking at and say, all things being equal, I can picture myself doing something like that. And then we run through the process of investigating them and determining if franchising is right for you to begin with. And if it is, then which franchise is right for you.
I hope you have gained some valuable insights into the world of franchising. Please make sure to like and subscribe and share with your network. Also, click the link below to learn more about franchising with Actioncoach.